Welcome to Voice Bootcamp. In this particular task, I'm going to use device pool to influence the codec that is going to be used between the IP phone on the same site. Many cases where you may have a remote users logging in from home or hotel, and they will be part of your head office, for example, or even branch office, doesn't matter. And when they become part of a same particular site, you may have a codec that is already defined in your policy to use G711. Now obviously these remote users are coming in from less available bandwidth, so it makes sense to ensure that whenever VPN user connect to call manager, we must use G729. And also, should the call manager lose connection or the WAN link goes down, those phones should not try to register to an SRST. So we need to categorize these users and use device pool to isolate them or put them into their own site and region. So what I'm going to do first is, in my call manager, I'm going to create a separate region for VPN user. I will call this VPN HQ VPN user or devices. And when they communicate with HQ region, for example, they will use G729. Actually, they should use G729 with everybody except itself. But then when one remote user talks to another remote user, you want to make sure that they also use G729. By using G729 as a default codec for any remote users, be careful that there are devices such as Unity, Contact Center, or maybe Presence. If they require you use a different codec, you may have a codec mismatch and a transcoder may be required. So now that I have a region created, I will create a device pool for that particular group of users as well. So I can take the HQ device pool and make a copy of that, and I will put a little insertion there that this is VPN user, and I'm going to change the region to that. And one of the requirements is to have SRST disabled, so SRST disables by default. Now this particular device pool has been created, but it does not have any member associate, so therefore I'm going to associate to my phone. Before I do that, I want to be able to make a test call and verify the settings. So I'm going to open my HQ phone, if I could. Okay, still having some problem. Okay, I will troubleshoot this later. So let's use IP communicator, and I'm going to make a call to my HQ phone. I'm going to answer the call. So this particular soft phone, I'm going to pretend that I'm coming in from a VPN network. Is by default is using G711 because the user or CIPC phone is part of the same device pool as your HQ phone, as you can see. So our goal is to make sure that remote users utilize less bandwidth. So for this particular user who are a VPN user, and again I can put a little note here, says VPN users, so that somebody who is monitoring or managing this call manager will be able to identify this and of course realize that these particular users are VPN, and that's one of the reasons why they are part of this particular device pool. Alright, so I've changed the device pool and I'm going to save and apply the config. So I'll make the call again. And as you can see right now, it is using G729. Now There's nothing wrong or incorrect of having multiple device pool for the same particular site. Device pool are a great way of achieving different settings for different group of users even in the same particular network, for example, or site, or logical group of users, however you want to say it. So do not be afraid to use multiple device pool to the particular group of users. Okay, so that will fulfill this requirement.